We have a 1986 F-150 in the shop today. We're going to walk through the steps in replacing the in-tank fuel pump. First, we'll remove the negative battery cable. Bleed the pressure out of the system using our pressure gauge relief valve. In order to do a proper fuel pump replacement, we need to clean the inside of the tank, and that will require the removal of the tank. Before we start lowering the tank out of the vehicle, we want to disconnect the fuel line filler tube. Now we can undo the fuel tank straps and start lowering the tank. First, we'll remove the fuel line retainer clips and disconnect the fuel lines. Discard the old clips. The new Airtex fuel pump comes with new clips. You may have some residual fuel here. Be sure and capture that in a safe container. Disconnect the electrical connection. Keep in mind, as we lower the tank, you'll have to work the filler hose off the filler tube. Once we have the tank in this position, we will remove the emissions fitting. Now that we've got the tank out from the vehicle, we will clean the outside of the tank before removing the pump. Now that we've properly cleaned the outside of the tank, we can remove the pump from the tank. Using our non-ferrous brass punch, we will turn the lock ring counterclockwise. Now we can remove the fuel pump from the tank. At this point, we need to drain the remaining fuel into a safe container and then clean the inside of the tank. We want to be sure that the tank is as clean as possible to allow a clean environment for the fuel pump. Now that we've properly cleaned the tank, we're ready to install the new Airtex fuel pump. Now we'll remove the fuel pump from the packaging. There is an installation kit containing everything needed to reinstall this pump. Place the tank seal into its groove on the top of the tank. Now we can start the pump module into the tank. In the top of the tank, there are two indentions. Also on the bottom of the flange are locating tabs that will set into these indentions. Now we'll install our lock ring. Always be sure and inspect your lock ring and make sure it's suitable for reinstallation. We will use a non-ferrous brass punch to turn the lock ring clockwise for reinstallation. We will remove the grommet from the emissions fitting and install it back into the tank. As you reposition the tank under the vehicle, keep in mind that the vent tube within the filler hose will have to be reattached. With the fuel tank in this position, we will reinstall the emissions fitting. Now we will reinstall the fuel line retainer clips into the fuel line fitting. Note that there are two different sizes. Be sure and get the appropriate size with the appropriate fitting. Now we will install the fuel lines and the electrical connection. When installing the fuel filler hose, note that there is a vent that will have to be reattached to the fuel filler tube. Now we will reattach the fuel tank straps, reattach the negative battery cable, and cycle a key 2 to 3 times to charge the system. Now we can start the vehicle, monitoring fuel pressure, making sure it's in manufacturer's specifications. To remove the gauge, we'll shut the engine off and bleed the pressure from the system using the pressure relief on the gauge, making sure to capture any fuel in a safe container.